Hi, in this short video we're gonna discuss and show you how we can build an organic fluid like smooth object with the help of volume measure and render it with Redshift. First of all, we need to create a shape. I'll start from a sphere, increase the segments because volume measure is very sensitive to segment of geometry to have smooth edge, and B for showing wireframes and adding a cube. We will use it to cut the top of our sphere. Create a boolean and just drag and drop sphere and cube there. Create single object, and this will be the first shape. Duplicate using one more boolean, duplicate sphere and put it up. So we need a little bit of variety in shapes, decreasing the radius of a sphere to have this inner hole cut out. Alt and left click to hide it. One more shape from the base boolean, unhide it, and maybe I will put and make this like Pac-Man style cutoff. I think that's all that we need. 3 shapes, looking good, no any problems with the shape. And one more element that would be just a simple sphere. Now we have 4 shapes. Going to render settings and change the aspect ratio to a vertical 1, 1280. Going to Redshift, the basic settings, no change here. Going to camera, extend focal length to something like portrait and create a cloner. Put all elements there, decrease the size to a low value so they intersect, and increase the vertical count of our shapes. Move camera a bit further and create a random effector to cloner. In random effector, in parameters, we'll decrease the randomness in position and adding a huge value difference in random and maybe a little bit in scale with 0.5. The next step is to create a rigid body tag and going to force and increase follow position and follow rotation to have this non-intersecting shape. Zoom out, hitting play, everything seems to be okay, no intersection and penetration. By holding Alt, create a parent volume builder and volume measure. Looks good. Disabling, and we need to cache our simulation of rigid body. Finding some frame and enabling our volume measure and volume builder. Decreasing voxel size for more precise shape generation. Looks good, and we have this bubbling and fluid connection between shapes. And create SDF smooth for controlling this fluid connection between shapes. You need to pick the operator one you like. I will stick with median. It has some blending or maybe not very aggression relaxing of shape. Decreasing voxel size, right click on volume measure, current state to object to have a geometry. Disabling our procedural things, and we will work with polygon geometry. We need to correct the wireframe, so creating a remesh as a parent of our volume measure geometry. Decreasing mesh density to something like 30 because we don't need extra polygonal count for our further work. Selecting remesh and C button for current state to object. I'm converting everything to shape just for tutorial. You can always use the procedural workflow and non-destructive conversion. I'm creating a smoothing deformer, increasing the iteration. Oh, nothing worked. Oh, I misclicked. I'm sorry. It should be, of course, the child. And now, yeah, we have very smoothing shape that we were planning to. Launching IPR of Redshift, docking to the left, hitting play, creating area light, and move it to the side. Rotate and orient to our figure. Going to preview and disable illumination in viewport. Arrange it and adjust the intensity. Of course, we don't need so bright highlights, maybe 10, very smooth. Control drag to the opposite side, rotate and increase, move it a bit to the front, decreasing the intensity, very smooth, like a softbox illumination. 4 is okay, looks good. The next step is to create material, and let me use this standard material, apply to our remesh. Let's start to build the shader. The first node will be max on noise, then another ramp, connect them one through another, and going to base color. To have faster preview, I decrease progressive passes in render settings. In ramp, I will load a full color preset. We have a great spectrum of colors, but we don't need so much, so I decrease and delete one of them by just dropping the node to the bottom. Blue, orange looks good. Increasing overall scale to a huge value to have this bluish gradient. This is a great match for our blurred geometry. In standard material, increasing the roughness a bit, maybe going to subsurface and add a bit of weight to have this light scattering under the surface. I want to change the color subsurface from white to maybe our base gradient, dropping color to a standard, connecting, and we'll use the color correct node, color correct, drop the node in our shader graph, connect ramp to input. We'll be using the base gradient. Out color goes to MS color. In erase color node, we will play with saturation scale. If we desaturate, have another color for subsurface, and one more is playing with gamma. I think we'll keep the one and increase the weight of our subsurface to have more noticeable effect. So we have a material, a shape. Let me recomposite the frame with moving camera, going back to our array standard material and create one more shader inside. I will pick the base material and select the silver preset. To combine our shaders, we need material layer, loading the first one to base color and the second one to layer 1 layer color. Output of array material layer connect to surface, and now we see that we have 100% chrome, adding a bit roughness, and for final result we need to add a mask for mixing our shaders. For this job I created erase max and noise and connected to layer mask. Rearranging nodes for better readability, deleting empty inputs. This group will be the first material, put like this, and we have a bunch of nodes too for the second one. In max and noise settings in output, I increase contrast to maximum to have a straight contrast between first and second material. I don't want to have so much silver, so decreasing brightness and imitates flakes effect. Let's try to lower the overall scale to something really low and maybe increasing the brightness to have more noticeable impact of these small elements. We have beautiful speculars where light hits our surface. As a final touch, we can add a res camera tag, let me find it, Redshift camera, and adding a bloom effect. Be sure we're looking from the camera in IPR and decreasing threshold to have this beautiful glow at the side. We have a diffuse base shader, but we can go in standard material and at the bottom, at code section, add a little bit glossiness to have this code effect. You can play with it, you can keep it, or maybe decrease it. I want to show you that this is a very handy to do. Maybe adding a bit roughness, and we'll add like car paint material. let's try bucket rendering. While bucket are doing their job, I want to say thank you for watching this tutorial and really hope that this technique of shading and creating geometry will help you in your projects and everyday work. See ya!